It's so beautiful.
We're live.
We're live.
Hello.
Hello,
We
everybody.
are live showing about Assassin's Blade today. This is the second live show in this series that Brittni and I are hosting. We're doing a read-along for all of the books in the Throne of Glass series, and this is the second live show for this series. So the first one was for Throne of Glass, and it was on Brittni's channel. Brittni, Paula, and Jackie are all linked in the description down below, so you should go subscribe to everyone. We'll do introductions in just a second, but that's kind of just the intro of this. You're on my channel. I'm Cassie. Hello. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, do it. And then, yeah, you guys can introduce yourselves.
Subscribe to Cassie and all of us. I guess I'll go first. So, hi, I'm Brittni from Brittni's Book Find. And first off, I wanted to mention that this whole series is a reread for me. So this book was a reread. I will say this. I have always loved these novellas. Like the first time I read it, I really enjoyed them. But I enjoyed them so much more this round, knowing what's to come in the series. So I do feel like this book is essential if you are reading it, but it just put my enjoyment factor like way up. I would even say if you've read the series before, to just even reread this one, just to kind of go back in time. I don't know. It enhanced the reading for me. I struggled with a star rating because I really enjoyed it. So I was like, you know what? It feels like a 5 stars for me because I've always loved it. But I know it's to come, and I know the growth in her writing. And there are a few things that I was like, about. So I think I would give this right now probably 4.5, maybe 4, maybe 4. Yeah, I'll go with that. So that's all I have to say for right now.
Hi, I'm Paula from Fandom Books. Yeah.
You can go ahead and give your rating and stuff too.
I was just looking that up because I was like, oh, crap, what did I give it? I think I gave this one 3 out of 5. Some stories were better than others. Although I think this is only is this the second one reread for me? Yes. My favorite story from the first time is still my favorite story the second time.
What's it called?
The Assassin in the Desert.
Okay, I can't wait. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. I did try annotating this one. I'm not very good at annotating. Then I just gave up halfway through. I'm like, no. I'll stick to taking my notes. I'm good with that. So yeah. Still, yeah. There's things that I need to talk about. But yeah, let's do the introductions first. Yeah.
Jackie, go ahead.
All right. Hi, guys. I'm Jackie. My channel is Evil Queen Books. Hopefully you can't hear those annoying noises in the background. My parents are getting cheese chopped down, so just ignore that.
Oh, awesome.
But this is my second reread of The Assassin's Blade. I will be honest. This reread for me definitely lowered the star rating. Both of the rereads of this book that I've done in the past, I've given it 5 stars, and now it's down to a 4. I don't know if I'm just more of a critical reader or what, but it just, I don't know, something about this reread didn't seem as special as the first two. But I agree with Paula when I said my favorite story from the first time I read the book is still my favorite to today. So,
which one is it?
It's the last one, actually.
Yes, that's a good one.
All right, Cassie.
Okay, so I also am a rereader of this entire series. So Assassin's Blade, the first time I gave a 5 out of 5 stars, and this time I gave it a 3.5. So things are different. I think I agree with what Jackie was saying, where I think it's just a critical reader thing.
Yeah.
I think I've read I think that I'm still seeing this time around, I'm seeing a lot of Sarah J. Maas's writing style still really growing right now, and I'm still going into these first few books expecting Kingdom of Ash writing, and I'm getting the first set of her books ever written. So like, I think it's just that's part of it for sure. And I think the first time I read it, I wasn't expecting anything different than what I got. So it was, a different experience. Yeah, I gave it a 3.5. I think my favorite story in it is
It's tough.
I don't know. I really like the pirate story, the first one.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that one I think is my favorite. I really like the last story in the series, in the novella, in the bind up as well, but it's so sad. So I think that I would pick the first story.
Right. You know what's interesting? That first story is my least favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think like I didn't think this one was my favorite. What's really interesting to me, well, I have 3 favorites, which is the healer, the desert, and the last one, which is what, Empire or Underworld?
Underworld, I think.
Underworld.
Okay, so Underworld. But here's the thing. I remembered the healer and the desert one like really well, and the healer one I knew from the beginning to end. Like I remembered it because of future books.
Right.
And it was such a cool experience to go back to the healer story.
Yes.
I really, really enjoyed that. So that one's always been a standout one for me. So I would say the healer and the desert are probably my favorite ones.
I agree about the healer one for sure. Like, although I don't think it's my favorite story because like not a lot like really happens.
It's so tiny.
Yeah, but given that one is so like in this bind up, you meet a lot of characters that are important later, and that one's my favorite as far as that goes. Like that character is my favorite who we meet later. I was like so excited that we got her. And yeah, anyway.
Jackie's the only one that probably is like, what the hell?
Yeah. Don't worry, we won't go any further into spoilers than that, but like just, I love that about it.
No, we won't go into like spoilers or anything like that. And I don't even think it matters. Like people say this is what this book's about, like who's in it and stuff like that. I lost my train of thought. Never mind.
Did we go ahead and warn for spoilers at this point? Are we done being non-spoilery? Okay, so if you haven't read Throne of Glass or Assassin's Blade, this is not the live show for you unless you don't care about being spoiled. Wow. At some point later in this live show, we probably will go further into spoilers and we'll warn before we go into like more books within the series.
Everyone will just start talking in code.
Yeah, the furthest we'll go in spoiling will be before Tower of Dawn, but up to Empire of Storms.
Yeah.
Because that's where some of our people in this live show have read to, so we can't go past that. But yeah, so spoilers up to Throne of Glass and Assassin's Blade for now. How do we feel? What was our things? What thoughts do we have?
Oh. Well, I was going to ask before we go into that, like just based off the last question, do you guys have like a story that like didn't grab your attention that was like kind of like your least favorite? Because I know I kind of mentioned mine.
Can you go through the names of them real quick?
Pirate
Lord. Pirate Lord, the
healer, the desert,
the Underworld.
Oh, the Empire is the last one.
Empire, yes. There is Underworld and Empire.
Okay, remind me which one the Underworld and which one the Empire is.
Well, Empire is when the big death happened, and when they got the apartment and everything, that was on.
Yeah, it's like starts out as a cute love story, and then everything goes to shit. That one.
Yep.
Okay, what's the Underworld then? Which one is that?
See, I always forget the Underworld. That's why I'm like,
the Underworld's where they actually get together, where they have their smoochies.
Yeah, but what like happened in the plot?
So I think this where she paid off Arabin and Sam, and then I think she paid off them, and then
it's the one where they have the suits. They get the suits.
And then
they get the suits, but then she still took a job for Arabin about going and like his wife had a word with Arabin, and then she had to go kill the
Okay, I really liked that one. This is the one where she thinks that she's destroying the slave trade agreement, but then
Yes.
Arabin tricked her.
Yeah, that's the one.
So it's not that one. Okay, what is that one? Obviously, like blended in with the Empire.
Yeah.
Though I thought that was one story.
Yeah.
I think my least favorite story is actually the desert. Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was okay. Definitely the first time I read it, I really liked that story. But having now read things like Nevernight, I was reading the desert, and I'm just like, oh, so this is just not as good as Nevernight.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, which like is not really a fair reason to not like it, because Nevernight came after the story, so it's not like it's not, you know, copying or anything. This book came out first, but like, whoo, I was just like, wow, I could be reading Nevernight.
Yeah,
it's a better story than this. Whoops.
Although Nevernight,
we need to be reading Nevernight before September. Just throwing that out there, because as soon as that last one drops, I'm like, yeah, bye.
Yeah, same. Although I need to read the second one because I forget everything.
Yeah.
Read
them.
I swear, guys. I swear.
No spoilers.
I'm dying to read it.
I think I might be hosting a readathon of my own.
Yeah. So, Cassie, you mentioned something about the desert. Well, actually, when we were trying to figure out the difference between the Empire and the Underworld, that reminded me of something. Am I echoing?
It's a little bit, but I can hear you. I think it's fine.
On earphones after this, but something that kind of annoyed me was the fact that Selena lets her emotions get the best of her. That she doesn't stop and think, like when that guy was like, you don't understand, you love this country, and then she's like, fuck you. and then she did it again with Wesley.
Yes.
And I was like stop for a second. That drove me. I love her, but I was like, just take a breath and listen.
But keep in mind that in this story, she's like what, 16?
That's something else that bugs me. I'm like, she doesn't seem like it's so weird to be like 16 and.
Well, to be fair, this totally bugged me because from like, you know, yes, she's still technically young in Throne of Glass, but
yeah,
with the amount of growth that she should have had in this series of novellas, she had none. She was the same completely all the way through, and she was the exact same in Throne of Glass. Like,
yeah, like the one thing that I notice a difference in between like Throne of Glass Selena and Assassin's Blade Selena is like she does really show like her PTSD from being in Endovier. Like that's very clearly not in these stories and very clearly is in those. Like I really loved being able to recognize that, like she obviously, like Sarah really wrote that development. It's very clearly not in one and is in the other. So I will say that. But yeah, she still acts like she's still hottish, like I'm hot shit, like I'm tough, like I'm the best, and she's very clear, like so arrogant. I guess that's the perfect word for her.
She's very trigger happy, and I think that's where I know it's like her, but I was like, oh, like, and right when you don't understand, he loves his country, I was like, oh, I know exactly what he means. Like he's not bad. Not that I remember that before, I just like knew, and I was like, no.
Yeah, no.
You're so dumb.
I'm wondering, like, I'm really curious to see how reading the rest of these books go. Like, are we going to recognize some of that character development in her? Like, is she going to remember looking back and being like, oh, I fucked up when I didn't listen to Wesley and when I didn't listen, you know? Like, is she going to recognize those things in the following books? I don't remember
trying to think.
Yeah, it'll be really curious.
I can't remember, but I think because the books pretty much from where they are right now, they diverge so completely that so many other things get brought up and get thrown into the mix that you're just like, okay, wait, she started here?
Yeah,
It's so
definitely.
Yeah, one thing I will say, like, I completely felt like I was rereading the last two stories. Like, I've never read them before. It felt like I didn't remember any of it other than the last sad part. But the first three stories I remember, but the last ones I didn't. It was like a reread, so it was really interesting to see how that connected as well to like later books. Like the scene when she was in the sewer. I was like, oh my God, I don't remember this. This is so intense. I didn't remember that at all. And it just like, I was like, she's going to die, but I know she's not.
That was one of those scenes that I agree with you. The last few stories I didn't remember as well, but that scene has like stuck with me because I remember it very clearly. And so when it started, I was like, oh no, this is it. I don't want to read this. And I like almost skipped and didn't listen to it. I was listening to it on audio. Yeah. I did listen to it, but I almost skipped it.
Oh my gosh. I almost wanted to skip the end. Like, obviously, we're in spoilers, but Sam's death, like, that, I think, I'm just going to go into it. Sorry.
Yeah, do it.
I think that's the hardest death of the entire series for me.
Yeah.
Like, really, it's brutal. Like, it felt so real in such a short time.
And it's sad because you have like, you want to have hope that he's gonna survive it, but you know that he can't because you already have read Throne of Glass and you know he's dead. Yeah. Like, they make it very clear that he didn't survive whatever happened in the past.
The first time I read The Assassin's Blade after I read Crown of Midnight.
Yeah, me too.
So I think the death that happens in Crown of Midnight is the one that gets me the most. I was like, ow.
Yeah, that one is painful.
Reading the novellas, it's like with Throne of Glass, you already know that he's gone, but it's like
that one's hard too. Yeah, I don't remember.
I'm not ready.
Like,
I'm not ready.
I think maybe in our next live show, I may come back and be like, actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one is rough. And like, that one, you don't. Well, anyway, we can't really talk about that. Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. Anyone else have anything to say on his
death?
Even there, like that, or even like something that comes up is, I totally forgot, and I think Sassy. I think Sassy.
Sure.
You mentioned this in your blog. I forgot that they hated each other at first. Like, I actually did.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, ooh, and
totally.
It was like not insta-love, but kind of, but it worked.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I walked into the start of this story and was like, oh yeah. I did not remember that this is where we start in this.
Yeah.
And like, there's some real big jealousy happening, which actually, okay, let's get into some things that I didn't like about this book.
Yeah.
Their jealousy is the most annoying shit I've ever read. I'm just like, Sam, shut up all the time. Just like, stop talking. And then the other thing that really annoyed me, which is a little bit off a new topic, I guess, is in the desert. I think this might also be why that's my least favorite story in these novellas, is they talk about the leader of the assassins in the desert is the silent, right? So he doesn't speak. He's like selective mute. And they mention stuff about like how he uses rudimentary gestures to communicate. And I'm like, so sign language, which isn't rudimentary gestures, it's a whole language. Are we not going to talk about that? And yeah, I went on a whole tangent about this in my vlog, but it really irritated me that we like never had any sort of conversation about that. And then at the end, he like talks and he's like, oh yeah, my gestures can't get everything I need to be said or whatever. I'm like, but if you were really a selective mute and you didn't speak for years and you were still leading a whole group of people, you would be able to communicate. You would learn how to create a language because that's how language is made. It's because of a need to communicate. And it just made me irate. Anyway.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Like, I know you're very knowledgeable on this subject, but she's like, I'm great.
So angry about it.
But it makes so much sense when you explain it. Like, it totally makes sense. And maybe that's just, I don't know. Sarah J. Maas was really young when she wrote this. She probably, I guess they do to do research, but she probably had no.
Just didn't even, like, it definitely didn't read as anything, like, purposely mean or, like, whatever. I think she just had no idea of, like, what she was writing about and how, if she had done some more research, she could have really, like, made some education, like, building in there of, like, what sign language is, and I just...
Yeah. And that would have really built up that character, too, as well.
Yes! And, like, ooh,
Anyway, I think it also could have been a case of, like, she was thinking of, like, oh, okay, this is an entirely fantasy world, so I can't say that it's sign language because it's not sign language, it's not fantasy. It's
right, like, some stuff about that, which, that's, like, one of the big things that just, like, I love fantasy so much, but a lot of times I think that authors use the fact that they're writing fantasy as a cop-out to, like, not talk about real things that are going on. I'm like, does it? No.
No way, Jose.
Yeah. If you can talk about bringing a period, then you can figure out sign language.
Right. Yeah. That's very, very true.
Yeah. I think that might be also why I did not like the assassin's story, the desert story.
Oh yeah. I do want to talk about something.
Should we go into spoilers?
No, I think so, because I'm just going to say this as not a spoiler, is I just want to talk about Lysandra a little bit. But I don't know how. I'm trying to think of.
Like when?
Like it doesn't matter to say, like, she does appear again. It's just I'm trying to, like, you guys would know. Did you guys, or Jackie actually? Yeah. Did you get Lysandra at all in the books you've read? I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah, I've read up to Empire of Storms. I'm rereading now, so I didn't like her in this book, but after she comes in later on in the series, I really liked her as a character. So, yeah, I definitely see her growing as the series went on. So
okay, do we want to talk a little bit about her up to Empire of Storms?
Yes, let's run to that real quick. Okay, so at this point, if you haven't read up to Empire of Storms, so you need to have finished Empire of Storms. You don't need to have read Tower of Dawn or Kingdom of Ash yet, because Jackie hasn't read those books, so we're not going to spoil anything in those. But up to Empire of Storms, if you haven't read it, we're going to spoil stuff. So your choice on if you want that in your life. Okay.
Okay, like, I guess for me, I'm just tiptoeing right now because I'm trying to remember, like, what happens when.
How does Empire of Storms end?
Oh god.
It regards to Lysandra.
Yeah, if we're specifically talking about Lysandra, it's like, what is her story arc?
Yeah. How
that point.
Because I think, doesn't Empire of Storm end with Selena Selena is, like, being in
No. Yeah. That's right.
So Selena is, like,
in the thing. Yeah. That's right, Jackie?
Right?
Is that right, Jackie?
I'm trying to remember. Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because then, because that's not how Tower of Dawn ends, and that's not how Kingdom of Ash ends.
Okay, so then
that's Empire of Storms.
In Empire of Storms, isn't there a thing that happens with Lysandra?
The water?
Well, yeah, but no, but yes.
Okay.
I thought that came out in Queen of Shadows.
That's Empire of Storms, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, there's other stuff too with her, but the thing
I
that
know
I'm
what you're
trying to
saying.
get is who she acts like at the end of Empire Storm. Doesn't that happen in that book?
I know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to. Like, does she end up being anything, Jackie?
Another person.
I'm trying to remember. Oh my god.
You guys talk about
I'm
something.
right,
I'm gonna go get the
that
book.
happens? Okay.
I'm gonna go get the book.
Okay, because I don't want to like mess up and think that maybe that happened. It has to happen in Empire of Storms.
There we go. Here we go.
Okay. I love that we're this careful about spoilers. I love it. My heart.
So careful.
I remember when I first read the series, I binge read the first 5 books in like 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, so they all blend together.
Yeah. I'm like, what happened in what book?
So, right, just getting back to this book. I need to ask. Yeah, I'll just talk to myself. It's fine. I wanted to ask, because there was the whole spider silk thing.
Yes.
In later books, is there actually a scene where she actually goes and fights the spiders?
She doesn't.
She doesn't.
Other people do. But if I remember correctly, it's never Selena that goes.
Because I have this whole so I'm like, is it actually written somewhere, or did I dream it? And
there is multiple times where we meet the same spider that created that specific spider silk for that particular man that is in Assassin's Blade. In Heir of Fire or Queen of Shadows, I can't remember which.
Queen of Shadows.
Manon.
Yes.
Manon. I can't remember how to pronounce her name.
Manon.
She goes and steals spider silk for her dragon thing. Wyvern,
yeah.
And then there's also scenes that happen in Tower of Dawn that we can't talk about.
Okay.
And those exist.
So you guys are wondering, I missed the first part. What happened with the spider coming back? Is that what you're nailing down?
Paula asked, like, is there a scene where Selena fights the spiders in future books?
Oh,
and I don't think that it's her.
I thought it was.
Maybe there is a scene. When does it happen?
Doesn't she like fall into their like nesty thing or something?
I don't think that's her. I think that's a character that we can't talk about because it happens in Tower of Dawn.
Oh, huh. We'll find out later. I will say I found on chapter 70 that I have confirmation that she's already shifted.
Okay, so Lysandra,
there we go.
Person who becomes Selena for President.
Oh, that part. I'm saying shifted in general.
Oh yeah. She becomes like a tiger at some point.
Yeah. So
I thought that happened in Queen of Shadows.
Yeah, it happens early. Like we knew that she's a shifter for sure.
Oh, that's what I thought you were asking.
No, sorry. I was talking about how she.
Anyway. Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It happens at the end of that book. I know this for a fact at this point.
I think that's Kingdom of Ash.
No,
because she's in the. Well, Selena is in the thing.
At the end
at the end of Empire.
At the end of that, and that's why everyone went absolutely crazy when we ended up getting Tower of Dawn, because we're like, no, we need the next one.
And the very last scene of Empire of Storms is after we know that she was taken. But Lysandra, pretending to be Selena, comes out and meets up with all the people at the end of Empire of Storms.
Oh, that part. Yeah. That's Empire of Storms.
Okay. Oh my god. That was such a stressful moment. I did not want to spoil it. Wow.
I was thinking of something completely different that's similar, but happens in Kingdom of Ash.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Later. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, that's later. You're right. And that's on the beach.
Yeah. When the pirates come and like the assassins come
Yeah.
Stop talking about. Yeah,
No, this is just the end of Empire.
I know, but I don't want you to get too comfy. Don't get too comfy now.
Guys, I gotta
Yeah,
start
I
to-
did.
Sorry.
My favorite part of reading Assassin's Blade was 100% seeing the characters that are not really important in these books, in these novellas, but are very important later.
Yeah. I will say Lyssandra's like character development is so interesting to see because I don't remember her being that bitchy. Like I
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know why I was like, I just love her. So I think I just blocked it out of my mind.
Mhm.
Let me see. I think I've written, like, I have on my notes. It's like they started out nice and pretty and colorful, and then they just went to notes.
Yeah.
I think there's one of my notes that's like, yay! Like, oh, whoop, Lysandra. I remember totally hating her. I wonder if I can't say the word. Can compartmentalize what I know about her and see if I can still feel the same way while reading this. And I was like, nope.
No. They're two different people, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
The other person I really loved is Rolf, right? Is that his name? Rolf?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And knowing what later, which I'm not going to say anything, but just knowing how he kind of weaves himself into the story and the pirate, and I remembered that scene with him, and I just like his character. I love pirates. They're so evil, but also fun. So I love seeing him. Who else do we have that's like some key players that were really interesting? Did you guys have anyone else that you enjoyed popping in?
Well, I would say that there's one point where I said, like, in the previous live show when it was like she got a lot of sass for Throne of Glass being whitewashed and stuff. I was like, I specifically made it a point. Was like, no, I'm sure there's people of color in here, and there is in this one, but I don't know. I can't remember about the rest of the series so much.
Yeah,
but
I'm trying to.
It's definitely that like all of the main characters
Or white, yeah.
are like there are definitely characters that become like are vital to the story, but like are not main characters.
Yeah.
That are people of color, but
Right.
yeah.
And it was interesting to see Ansel not say anything for the feature, but I was like, Cassie, I sent her a message. I'm like, is she important later? I don't remember.
I was the same. I'm like, Ansel.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, it's one of those where she's like, she got left to live, so.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, once, like, yeah.
There was another, okay, so talking about the reason that I really didn't like that story. This is the same story. So the desert story also has that very stereotypical villain tells the whole way that they did everything that they did. I was just like, oh God, okay, can we not do this? Like, we didn't need it. So that happened, and I was annoyed about it.
I liked it because it did actually provide more backstory and more actual character growth of the fact of that how she felt completely strange and went instantaneously to that bad place with Nehemia in Throne of Glass because of what happened in that book and because of what happened with Ansel. So I'm just like, okay,
right.
I still like that. Okay, fine. But I do get the whole, like, you know, I'm going to start monologuing now.
Hate it. It is one of my biggest pet peeves about, and I love villains. Like villains are usually the most entertaining to me, but like, man, when you give me a stupid villain monologue that is the reason that the hero has time to fix it, I'm like, couldn't you have done it better? I don't know. I just
Yeah.
I'm the same, Cassie. I love villains in general, but monologue, damn, don't need it.
It's the worst. It like feels so 80s cheesy movie.
Yeah. Every James Bond movie ever.
Exactly.
No, I expect you to die. Well, stop talking and pull out a gun.
I'm just like, oh God, we did it again.
Yeah.
You know what I really like that's so random and small? I love the horses.
Me too. I did really love the horses.
Like just knowing like how they were like it reminded me of like unicorns. Like she just got like this beautiful oh, was this one? Yeah, it was this one at the end. Sorry,
Yeah.
horses and things. Big at the end. Do you think that was Sam, like reincarnated? Like, remember, she's like, "Where did this stag come from?" Remember,
what?
wasn't it? Or did I read that wrong? I know the stag is in the. Is that what how you say it?
You're saying stag, right?
Yeah, is that
But your Canadian accent is showing. I'm sorry. This is me totally being an American who was like, can't understand.
or it's just my speech impediment?
Wow. I'm sorry.
How am I saying it? Stag.
It's just the like way that you're pronouncing the A. I don't know.
Stag. You know what I mean now.
Yeah, now I do. I was hearing like egg. I'm like, egg?
Oh,
what are we talking about?
Whatever.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was like, ooh, is that like, because I know it said like, she's like, it's weird that we can see, I might be getting this mixed up, but she's like, it's weird that we can see the constellations out here where it always tells, Terracin always knows where home is. And then she sees a stag in the forest. And I was like, she's like, it's weird. Weren't these like wiped out? What is he doing here? And then she's like, run, run. And then they missed with their arrows. And I was like, is that like Sam reincarnated? Because she's like, it's weird because it's just showing where Terracin is always home. So I was like, I wonder if that's where they went with that, or if that's just my own mind thinking that.
Yeah, I was reading that more of like her family.
Oh.
Like Terracin and stuff that you find out later about who she is and stuff. That's what I read into that. But it could have been Sam. Who knows? I don't know.
That's true. I like that scene. I really like that. And then I forgot where I am Selena Sardothian, I will not be afraid. I forgot about that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's, she thought it was so dumb at first and at the end. And then I was like, oh. I like the ending. I thought it wrapped up perfectly before going to class.
Yeah, except fuck the king is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, we knew
Arabin.
I mean,
can we just, you know?
Yeah. Which book is it that like we get the revenge?
I think that's like either Queen of Shadows or Empire of Storms.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I know it's not after that.
I'm so ready for that scene. I just need it now.
Because he's so manipulative. Like, I feel like deep down he really does care for Selena, but he's just so manipulative where he's like, I love you and I'm going to take care of you and and then I'm going to stab you in the back.
It's the classic, like, you know, well, if I can't play with my toys, no one else is going to.
Yeah, it's very much like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
It's like a weird relationship because he's kind of a father figure.
Yeah.
And him buying Lysandra's virginity is just like, I need to go shower.
I completely forgot about that. And I was just like, oh, ew.
I thought we probably just all blanked it out of our brains.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, he was such a, I was going to say a whore. Sorry. I hope there's no young people watching when I live stream these things.
I know, seriously. Anytime I live stream, I'm like,
sorry.
It's definitely rated R.
Yeah.
Well, it's the thing, if we have so many of like live shows that can't be edited, really. Right. So it's like we have all these feels, and you know, it's gonna get real. Like, so sorry.
I'm trying to remember Farron, because obviously, does he come in Crown of Midnight then?
Nope. No. Wait, which one's Farron?
Farron and Jane. She killed Jane, and then Farron put her in the slave salt mines. He's like with Arabin, right? Like she went to go kill him, and then he's like, "Nope, I knew you're coming because Arabin told me."
Yeah. The one that she goes to try to murder, but it doesn't work.
And then who killed Sam?
Yes. I don't remember when he comes into play, but like I hope that we get some sort of revenge on him too.
I know, because I'm thinking, well, you would expect that he would have some sort of revenge because of what he did to Sam. Like that would be in Selena's character. But that might happen. I just completely.
Yeah, I can't remember it, but I feel like there's no way that it can come up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure though.
He's a dick.
Oh, right. Let's just. There's things that I actually like pulled out of my notes that I'm like questions that I wanted to ask you guys. So going back to like the first like story with the assassin and the pirate lord and him having the magical tattoo. What would you like to have as a magical tattoo, and what would it do?
Ooh.
I don't remember the magical tattoo. What was that again?
Well, it was the pirate lord that had the tattoo of the sea on his hands that would like show him, and it would move.
Right.
But because magic's dead.
That's a hard question.
What would I want to see all the time?
Yeah, I don't have tattoos for a reason.
I do too.
But like, what would I want that was magical? I mean, honestly, a map would be a good one because I get lost a lot. But that would be boring. Like just a map of where I am.
That's a good idea, though, Cassie.
I mean, it would be very useful, very utilitarian.
Yeah, they'll never go out of style in some way. I think for me, I'd have I'd have the moon phases. So
nice.
I follow the moon for like everything I do, for like intention settings, everything. So then something to do, like if it's like lined up like crescent and then like full, have like, and then like a little chart, and then it helps me do something with it, like align my intentions and helps me manifest anything I want.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what I would have.
Another one that would just be pretty would be like the constellations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the sky that is above me right now at any given time.
Ooh, or because I'm a Sagittarius, I'll get a bow and I can shoot people like this.
That'd be pretty badass, though.
I mean, yeah, but how often do you want to murder people?
If it's like Arabic or something.
She could settle for maimed.
Yeah. What if they're love arrows? Like, oh, you guys fell in love. I'm Cupid.
Oh gosh.
Too much responsibility for me. I'm out.
Yeah, seriously.
I was with you for the violence, but no. What about you, Jackie?
That's a really good one. I haven't thought about that. I kind of like the idea of the constellations. That's a good one. Or something to do with the stars, I feel like would be right up my alley. But
I because it's like my question, I thought about it quite a bit. I was like, kind of like a witch's familiar that was like always like a part of her tattoo, but like they could actually like kind of change into any animal, and the tattoo would change, and then basically kind of or
it's
just
like what is that? It's the Philip Pullman books. What are those books called again?
the golden
his dark materials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those, but a tattoo version.
Yeah.
That is so freaky, Paula, because I was literally going to say before the moon thing, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to say that. I had in my mind my cat, and I was like, she's like my familiar, and like, and I didn't know where to go with it, and that's literally what I thought. That is funny.
We're all just like
shifting.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if you become like Lysandra, where you have an animal on you, and you're like, whenever it starts training the animal, you shift into that animal.
And
that
then you
sounds
become
badass. Yeah.
Wow. Any other questions you wrote down, Paula?
Yes, but let's talk about the individual stories first.
Okay, so the pirate one was basically my favorite. It started so strongly, like the whole novella set. I'm just like, oh, the pirate lord, I love this story. And then it kept going, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I just found it just didn't grab my attention. I was the most like bored with this one. I find.
Mhm.
Well, I think it was the definite setup for the jumping off point for the rest of the stories in the novella,
Mhm.
because it's like what happens at the end of this is pretty much where everything else goes.
Mhm.
Right.
I will say that. Okay, so moving into the Red Desert, like the transition between these two stories, I found it like weird and funny that Arben's punishment for Selena is like further training. I'm just like,
Yeah.
so you're gonna make her more deadly? Like,
Do you think maybe he knew that the Mute Master doesn't really approve of anyone, and
I feel like that was his thought, was that she'd get stuck there.
yeah, and like, and it would drive her crazy that he would never approve her.
Yeah, that was definitely like where he wanted it to go. But still, I'm like, you're gonna go have her trained to be more deadly. Still doesn't make any sense. You're like angry with her, and one, you give her exactly what she wants because she wants to be the best. And then on top of that, like, I mean, he's so arrogant that he would never even think that Selena would ever hurt him.
Yeah.
But you're making her more deadly in order for her to hurt
Yeah,
you.
but to be fair, he knows how insolent she is, and it's a case of the thing that, like, you know, well, he's never going to teach her because she's just such a. I'm already
the best.
I'm already the best. I don't need to learn from you.
Yeah.
I will say something. I know I'm bouncing off stories, but the second story, The Healer, because we haven't talked too much about it, what I really loved was Selena showing Irene how to protect herself.
Yes.
And she was able to protect herself in that small little training. I loved that. Loved it.
Yeah, and I love how that relates to things that happen later that we can't talk about. But I loved it.
Yeah. So that's
I think this is an important thing for, like, just not just for women to know. I think it's just an important thing for, like, everyone to know. It should be taught in schools. That tiny little bit of self-defense should be taught to everybody.
Totally.
It's kind of it's annoying that it's in a novella, because people think that, like, you know, even if they enjoy a book series, they're like, yeah, I'm not going to read the novellas. It's whatever. So it's kind of annoying. It kind of annoyed me that it was just put in a novella, but I'm like, yep, it still works.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, love it.
I was gonna ask, in the talking of the Pirate Lord one, I was wondering, it's like, I can't even remember what it was. Hang on. Talking about does Selena even know about the demons in the Helm realm yet? It's like, is that an actual mistake? Does she even know that there's Hell realms when she's 16?
What does she say in it?
Yeah, it's a comment.
Trying to find it.
Sorry.
The Hell realms.
It's a comment that she says to. It's just one of the. All right, so page 67. The slaves still roved in their chains as if the demons from every hell realm were upon them.
Oh, up until like more magic starts showing up in this series, I kind of read all of those things as like how we talk about, like, people who aren't religious necessarily, like, will still say some stuff like, oh, pray for me, or like,
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, all of those like small comments that like people who are not religious will still use in their daily language.
Okay.
But it's not because they think that those places or whatever exist. It's more like just a saying.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's how I read that.
Much in that one.
But then again, I will say that, like, in Throne of Glass, like, it's not myth that there are fairies in that forest. Like, those are very real, and they just, like, went extinct, they think, because of the magic stuff going away. And so she's surprised to see them in that scene. So, like, I don't know, maybe that's just part of the, like, the magic within this world that we don't really, like, because it's not super delved into, at least yet, that I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, there could be
But-
some other stuff too.
That was just another random question that I saw. That was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Because I know, like, this story is hard because there's magic that everyone knows exists, and then there's other magic that nobody knows exists, and, like, that's all of the stuff that's going on, you know, like, with the word marks and the word keys and, like, all that stuff is all things that they're learning about that they didn't know existed. But there is magic that was taken away that people did know about.
Yeah.
It's hard to, like, to keep them separated of, like, which one is which.
Yeah. Another point that I have is like, yeah, how well can Sarah J. Maas write a fight scene though? She's so good at writing fight scenes, which is good, seeing as where the series ends going. But she's so good at writing fight scenes.
Yeah, they're also well done. Like, they're easy to understand, but not boring at the same time. That's nice. Always nice.
Oh my god, I just had an image of my favorite fight scene. Oh, I won't say anything, but I think you've all read it before, but I'm just like, so good.
I love it how she's just looking up into space. It's like, so
yeah, it had to do with someone, my favorite character that starts with an M.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that scene.
Okay, since we have already warned for spoilers up to Empire Storms, that means that basically almost everyone who we get to know, almost everyone exists in the series before Empire Storms. So my question is, like, because we're all rereading most of the story, what character are we, like, most excited to show up in the coming books?
Manon.
Yeah.
For sure.
My favorite character of all time.
I love that we all agree.
So interesting, and we're going to talk about this in Heir of Fire, so I won't go into depth with it, but just in general, what's so interesting, when people first read Heir of Fire, they're like, who's these characters? I don't want to read about this person and the witches, and I don't want to read these chapters. And then you get going and you're like, they're my favorite.
Yeah. When I saw people... Yeah, when I saw people actually, like, you know, when they were talking about it, I was like, oh, I just skipped over the Manon chapters. I'm like, no, go back, read them, do it.
I can't believe there are people who skipped. One, I've never been able to just skip a chapter and keep reading. What?
No.
I've never done that before.
And it was like,
and then on top of that, I'm like, you're missing out on such, like, a vital and, like, cool new character.
I'm so excited. But we'll go. I feel like Heir of Fire is going to be such a good live show, so I hope you guys.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah, me too. And Kontinuum too, but not as excited as Heir of Fire on.
See, the thing is, like, I know when he first shows up, everyone's just like, no, you're destroying my ship. But I really love Rowan. I
love Rowan.
I love Rowan.
And this is like, no.
I'm so ready for Rowan. I remember like when it's Heir of Fire, I think that he shows up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that book, just like, everybody has feelings about Heir of Fire, which is why I'm so ready to reread it together. And like, everyone was like, I'm Team Kale or I'm Team Dorian. And I was just like, I don't give a shit about this romance. And then we finally got Rowan, and I was like, oh, I give a shit about this romance.
Yeah. I was there making, like, little flags, and I'm like, this is my camp. This is where I'm sitting.
Yeah. I'm going to put my flag right here. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. But before we go too far along with that, any other questions for why are there two Jackies all of a sudden?
I'm ejecting the frozen one.
Oh, there we go. That's so funny. Because I was like, look at Jackie's, like, being like, hell no, and I just realized she was frozen. She's like,
Jackie, we asked, like, what character are you most excited to show up in the series in the future? Oh no, we can't hear you again. Sad.
You can type in our chat and we'll say.
Yeah, we'll answer for you.
It's so sad. so sad.
Bless her. She's
Manon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We're all the same. We're all the same.
Okay, who's everyone's favorite like OTP?
Ooh.
Oh, well,
Oh, I mean, I guess I would say Rowan and Selena.
because
Mhm.
we're only up to Empire Storm. So,
Yeah, but to be fair, I think there's a blossoming OTP in Empire Storms that I'm kind of down for.
Which one?
one.
It's Dorian and
Ugh. I hate
no,
it.
really?
I hate it.
Oh, a lead, is it?
No, you're talking about Alid and Lucian,
Oh, yeah.
Lorcan,
Whatever. That's
and
like
I actually like that relationship a lot. But
Mhm.
Dorian and I'm
I
scared to
feel
say
like
it.
we need to say it. Like, they
Just
just need to
say
talk.
it.
Say it.
Say it.
I don't know.
You're not here for it?
I'm not.
Which
No?
one? Dorian and
Manon and Dorian.
oh
I'm not into it. We're not gonna spoil anything that happens later, but
no.
I'm just not into it. There's like we'll get to talk about it.
It's more of a case of like, it's like there and they're flirting, but
Okay, I will. Okay, I guess
I
I
enjoy that part of it. I don't know anything else that happens after
Jackie
that.
agrees with me, so that's good.
Yeah.
I will say that like when they're initially kind of flirting, I was more into like, oh, where's this gonna go? I like this, but
Yeah.
like once it gets further, then I was like, oh, ew, I don't like their relationship at all. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. It's like too.
It's off.
It's too
Mhm.
angry. Like it's too like hate relationship. Like hate sex all the time. And I'm just like, nah. I could do
Okay.
without it. Ew. I don't like it.
Jackie says she has a very unpopular opinion on the relationship, so I said for her to share, and we can always share for her.
Yeah.
I would have to say, like, honestly, it has to be Rowan and Selena. Yeah,
I also really like where Lysandra's relationship goes that I don't want to talk about like in
that's
depth.
why I was like, there is more, but I don't think I can say much. So
Yeah.
now up to Fire and Storms, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the Lysandra.
Okay.
Like where that goes. And I really like I do really like whatever his name is,
Lorcan, yeah.
And
There's
Alid.
Kale. I mean, I won't get into this, but there's Kale.
Oh, I do like that one too.
I do too.
Jackie says, "Don't hate me, but I'm still a fan of Solorian. I'm still a Solorian fan." We don't hate you for it, but no.
I mean, it's fine that you like that, but like, no. I do like Dorian and Selena more than I like Kale and Selena.
I would say that after reading Throne of Glass again, me too.
Although I'm curious how to feel after Crown of Midnight, because I'm pretty sure I was one of those people who switched my ships every 5 minutes. So
I'll probably
who would you actually prefer? Who, if you could choose people to be together, who would you choose?
I'm just gonna start. Who would you choose? No, let's start this like this. Who would you choose Manon to be with?
Lysandra.
Yes. Yes.
That's good. That is good.
I also ship Selena, like in Throne of Glass. I ship Selena with what's her face, the friend that I can't think of her name.
Nahima.
Yeah, Nahima. I ship them. I'm like, can we get some female romance up in here?
Yeah.
Are we into that?
And like Adian, we forgot about Adian.
Oh, yeah, I do like where that ends though, but like,
yeah, there's Adian.
I know.
I totally forgot about him. As soon as I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I love him. I wish that Adian wasn't related to Selena because I like that.
No.
Yeah, I do. I like their dynamic. Like, I mean, obviously they're cousins, so like, ew, can't ship that. But like, I wish that they weren't related because I really like their dynamic, and I would like to see that happen. But ew.
Yeah, we're not talking about Game of Thrones here, Cassie.
Yeah.
Can we just put Dorian and Kale together? I'm totally kidding, by the way.
Ew. Not into that one.
Well, you know, Kale has served him for
Yeah. I feel like it could definitely be an unrequited thing.
Yeah, that relationship, you could see it happening if you actually, take a step back and think about it for a minute. You know, it could go there.
Yeah, someone's closeted.
Yeah, no, I like most of them, like for the most part, on how it all wraps up. I won't say anything. I'm pleased, some more than others.
Yeah, there's only one that I really don't like, and it's Manon and Dorian. I don't like that.
Well, the thing is, I don't know where that goes, so I do the whole flow, because I think it's more of a case of I can imagine what should happen, where the fact that she chews him up and spits him out. That's pretty much where I see that should happen.
Yeah.
From Cassie's reaction, I'm guessing that's not what happened.
I mean, that is kind of what happened. Yeah, I don't like them, but I do. Well, I think I also. When does Sorsha come up? Isn't that in like Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows?
Sorsha.
You guys remember?
Oh.
She's the girl that Dorian likes at some point. Oh, it's Jackie said it's in Crown of Midnight.
Okay, we're really safe.
Yeah, okay. So Dorian dates Sorsha at a point, and she's like a common girl, so it's like forbidden, kind of. Yeah. And I really loved their relationship, so I think that I'm also just bitter about that.
Yeah, I like the relationship too. I agree, because that's who I was thinking about at first, and then I got the wrong name. Like their dynamic, yeah.
Oh, is that when you said a lead?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I really liked them. I wish that had been an OTP.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else, ladies? I think we're at like an hour and 15, or about an hour.
Yeah, I think we're good. Any final thoughts? I'm really excited for Crown of Midnight. This is our next live show book.
I will say, because I'm moving the first week of July, it might be a little later.
Yeah, and we might do like we could do a, what am I trying to say? I don't even know anymore. We could potentially do a weekday thing, but if we do a weekday live show, it'll be in the daytime like it was today. So unfortunately, that just is how the host schedule goes, and we're sorry that there's not very many people who can like actually watch the live shows live. But it just is what it is. This live show is going to be on Brittni's channel, so make sure to subscribe to her and Jackie and Paula, who are all down in the description down below. So make sure to go hit subscribe, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, you're here. You could hit subscribe. It's right there. Very easy.
Just do it. Make your finger happy.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you for Crown of Midnight on my channel.
Yeah. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, which is also linked down below for like when and where and all of those good things too.
Yeah.
All right. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.